Hey, gentlemen. Hey, congratulations for Followed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
So, what brought both of you on board onto this, very unique project, which is a sort of a found footage that we haven't seen for quite some time?
Well, I'll be real quick, and that is, I saw the whole Elisa Lam and Hotel Cecil on the news. Got really intrigued by it. I thought it was a mockumentary. I didn't think it was real. And then it kept on coming back every single Halloween. So I dug deeper into it, and I realized that, yeah, this is all real, and this is just crazy. So because of that, I talked to my producer, Matt, and Matt also knew, Matt was friend of Todd Click, which is the writer. And Matt mentioned to me that, hey, Todd has actually been very interested in writing about this particular event and this hotel as well. So that's how we got together, all, the two of us, along with the other producers. Matt, we just met on a weekly basis and go over the ideas. We decided on the found footage genre, due to the fact that it's about a vlogging world, so we wanted to use that. And second of all was, for lack of better words, we still a micro budget of movie, so we wanted to make sure that we stretch our dollars. But that's the genesis project for how
What about you?
Yeah, and for me, it was a self-submission through an online submission page for actors. And I went in for the audition. I ran into one of our co-stars, actually, who plays Nick in the film. And lo and behold, through the casting process, we ended up working together. Yeah, I mean, as a young actor, I was just hungry for whatever, but I'm a fan of the horror genre. And we just you really saw the cast start to click once filming started and a few rehearsals, and then you get to meet the crew through the shooting process. And while you always have hiccups during filmmaking, I think for the most part things really went well, and just a really enjoyable process, and something cool to really be a part of. But yeah, through a few basic auditions, and you get that final callback and confirmation after that. And it was just, I mean, a blessing and a treat to be a part of this whole thing. And it continues after 4 years. It continues, and just a really cool story, to be a part of the whole thing.
Did either of you by chance visited Hotel Cecil, where Elisa Lam actually died? I mean, I'm assuming that this film was not filmed at Hotel Cecil.
Right. Well, originally it was, we wanted to do that. So, Matt, our producer, he has a fantastic story to tell you about that as well, which is really, which is technically speaking, so we wanted to film there. Matt actually set up the interview with the Hotel Cecil's managers and all of that. And then we came in, we were pitching the movie idea. They were all gung ho about it. And then when they realized that it was based, that it was about that, they're like, ooh, nope, right? So we basically, we got shut down. So we did go back to the hotel, for research. So the first night, me, Matt, and Greg, which are the other producers, along with Todd, the writer, we came to the hotel. We basically bought a room there. Rented a room so we can actually just see how it feels, right? And we actually heard noises and stuff like that. So as when you watch the movie, you heard the noises. Those were taken directly from the hotel itself, the real hotel, right? It's because we just wanted to see what it feels like. So all the disguises and stuff like that, it was funny because we had to do that. Because the hotel, it was really popular at that time due to the American Horror Story, season 4, or the hotel season with Lady Gaga. So have you heard of that show, The American Horror Story?
I've heard of the show. I never watched it myself.
Yeah. So I think season 3 or season 4 is called Hotel. It's about the same hotel, it's about the same event, right? And that season was Lady Gaga was headlining that season. So basically, it's got a really big season, and due to Lady Gaga's involvement, the hotel got a whole lot of press, right? So they kept them bombarding with people that wanted to go in and all that, so they just shut the whole thing down. So that's what happened. We couldn't do anything there. So we actually had to wear disguises, right? Or we actually had to dress up as if we were tourists to get to the hotel just to see what it's like, right? So we did spend about half a night there. Didn't spend the whole full night. We spent half the night there. Things are just normal. It's just like we just didn't feel too good being in the hotel. When we get out, we have to sage ourselves, just to make sure people didn't follow us through, right? But that's what we did. And I think I know the actors, they also went to the hotel and stayed there as well. But I'll let the
yeah, I think Caitlin Udding, again, who played Nick, rented a room, and I think all three of us, all four of us walked through, and yeah, just a very, I mean, the construction itself, coming from the contractor, the construction itself is just, it's very old, and you can tell that there's been a lot of settling, and the walls are kind of, they're starting to cove at the top, and there's layers and layers of paint, and just I remember there being just a lack of like vibration or sound. It's just, it was a very kind of flat kind of sound to it, which just adds, to the omnious of the whole thing. Yeah, eerie place. I didn't stay but for an hour or two as Chris's character. I'm not staying around.
One of the things I have never heard of was the Korean elevator game. After watching this film, this is the first time I actually was introduced it, and to the point that I had to Google it, and there were like the rules on Reddit. Would you guys ever play the game yourself?
No.
So it's we heard about that. Obviously we did a research, and we read about it. It's like there's different people who claim that I've done it. A lot of them actually claim the same thing, which is at the certain floor, they see this, see that. It's just that, the funny thing that when I read it, it's like, okay, so if this is truly haunted and all of that, so how could these people still be alive and tell tales about it, right? So we figured that we wanted to put a spin to it, but that's about it. So we read the rules, we read what it was about, and then we didn't do anything else because we wanted to stay original, not be influenced by it. So no, we didn't try that at all. And the funny thing is, after we filmed, after we edited and made the film like 2 or 3 years later, I just went on YouTube and I just typed in the elevator ritual, and it turns out that there are literally hundreds or dozens to hundreds of videos of actual real life vloggers who did the same thing. And I was like, oh my God, that is awesome. Obviously, I'm not sure whether they're influenced by our film. I doubt it, because our film is still, at that time, hadn't been out yet. But it's just that, we're glad that we actually did watch those footage on YouTube in advance, because otherwise we would have been very influenced by what they did. So a few of them are actually pretty scary. The others like are complete fake and all of that. So which I thought it was really awesome, because it was so similar to what we did. And it's just that we never really watched it. We never watched people do it. So we were just basically doing it, and it turns out that it was exactly what people were actually doing. Real life vloggers were doing. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Tim, could you talk about the challenge of working in a cramped space, and not to mention that there's it's both for both of you guys, working in cramped spaces and carrying all this camera equipment, because I've talked to directors who've done found footage before, and sometimes they let the actors actually video real cameras. But I understand you guys didn't do that. You actually had your director of photography do the whole thing. Could you talk about the challenges of acting and being so close with the cameraman at the same time?
Oh yeah. Well, for me, like, an acting note has always been, nothing glib, and just I need to make everything as real and as much of a reality for me when the filming starts as possible. So, especially when you're holding either operating equipment, I want to look experienced. When I'm trying to squeeze through a door with other companions, we are squeezing through the door, and I can't think of any lacerations or bruises off the top of my head. But like, I know that I was always getting my blood pumping before each run or dive or whatever. And so for me, it was just trying to make everything as much of a reality as possible. Talking to Nelson, taking my own experience from being on set, talking to Sam, our sound guy, and I mean, watching the crew around us when we're off camera, and then also again being inside a hotel with these tight quarters, having to wait for guests to come down the hallway, having background actors that are in our way as well. For me, it was just, while being safe, making things as real as possible, so that I mean, found footage. We're live streaming reality to you too. So it was the most important thing to keep in mind to me. Of when the camera starts, if I'm getting chased by something, let's chase.
And Antoine, why did you let them play with props rather than real cameras?
Yeah, and that is because, so I didn't, although we made this as found footage, but the thing from the get-go, one of the things that I put down, that one of the things I wanted to accomplish was, I wanted to make it not look like found footage, right? So, and one way to cheat it is because these are vloggers, these are, like professionals, right? These are professional, even like, Nick is supposed to be a film student as well, right? So these guys, they understand film, they understand vlogging, so they are professionals in that sense. And because of that, all of the angles are somewhat planned, right? So, the funny thing is the movie that really inspired, the whole found footage look of it. Believe it or not, it's not a found footage film that actually inspired me. It was the Bourne trilogy, or the Bourne, specifically for Supremacy and Ultimatum, right? Paul Greengrass, the director of that, he filmed it in the sense that it looked very realistic, right? Although obviously Bourne is not a film, but it's just the shaky camera, the way that he does it. So what I planned on was that I wanted yes, we started as found footage, but as people watch it, they might forget, whatever they see, we could do the cutting or whatnot. It might seem realistic. It seems real. Because of that, I wanted our director of photography to really handle the camera. So you can see in our film, there's all this quick zoom in, zoom out, and basically get the right angle here and there. And if I were to have the actors do that, it would take away from their concentration of really, acting, right? And of course, because they're not director of photography. So therefore, I would trust Nelson as our DP to really shoot it right. And that was the reason why I wanted Nelson to be the person that does the filming, and the actors, they would use the prop cameras just because I wanted them to live the role, right? So therefore, they would just, they would just ignore Nelson as the cameraman there, and basically just act in the roles. And I think that worked out, at least, based on the flexibility.
I think it worked out pretty well. Yeah, absolutely. So let me start wrapping things up. I know it's always a silly question to ask, but us interviewers will always ask it. Is in times like this, do you have upcoming projects, or do you try to stay creative somehow? Through these pandemic times.
I'll go first. I mean, I'm a fine finish carpenter. Outside of my acting trade, I got a small business up here in Seattle now. I used to build sets down in LA for small theater venues. So yeah, I mean, there's always a hunger to want to express, and then again, just such a blessing to have something that I can take and create by myself with my building. And I also like to write. I like to anything from journaling to song lyrics. But yeah, I mean, I have to believe a true artist, you got to have some outlet in some way, from cooking to colored pencils.
Yeah, and as for
Quote me on that. Cooking to colored pencils.
Colored pencil. No, as for me, is that we basically just have me and my producer partners. We basically have just been talking about conceptualizing the sequels, and also we have pre-production of our next features and whatnot. So still can't tell you guys yet, but yeah, we're just in pre-production. So we still just having Zoom meetings pretty much weekly, going over script ideas, going over, logistics and everything else. But yeah, that's how we keep ourselves, I guess, active as artists during this time. Because I know, the economy is probably the film industry is probably reopening in the next month or so. I would believe. I think there are already film productions already started. So yeah, the only thing to keep our minds sharp is, watch a lot of movies and just have weekly discussion about what we want to do next. And we would actually have 2 or 3 different projects at the same time just to discuss on that. So therefore, is that even during the pandemic, we keep ourselves busy. It's like there's still so much more that we are still behind on. I still have a mountain of script I have to read. A production company, we still have to figure out our next 2 or 3 projects, which one we're going to tackle first. And at the same time, we want to see how we can flesh out the idea for the sequel to follow. So therefore, there's a lot. Here's my point. There's a lot to do. And we have just been Zooming one another, during this time to discuss all of this.
Absolutely. Well, I have one final thought or final question. And I know Antoine's not going to tell me about it. So I'm going to ask Tim, what do you think happened to Drop the Mic?
Oh, shoot. You know what? I don't know if I've ever really thought about it. But I will say he's not gone forever, in my opinion. But I feel like he made some choices and decisions that he is reaping repercussions from, and may continue to see repercussions into the future.
Well, there you go. Antoine, you want to tell us the truth?
Whatever he just said, I think it may be true, maybe not. I'm not so sure. No, we have to wait and see. Whatever that you think it is probably it. So we'll see.
Excellent answer. Excellent. Well, gentlemen,
watch it again. Maybe there are clues throughout the movies.
Oh.
There you go, right?
You're just teasing me, trying to get me to watch it again.
Absolutely. That's the key.
Well, gentlemen, hey, excellent. Hey, this is a great discussion. Hey, thank you for this interview. And that film was pretty scary.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed
Thanks.
it. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Hey, not a problem. Hopefully we get to do this again. Thank you. Bye
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.